And I've mentioned that already, so we can move on. 1993, that was the level of prior knowledge. 12% had Form 7, 43% had Form 5, so that was obviously the cut-off point. But of course that makes sense because we're talking about what were the qualifications then. Qualifications were bursary, scholarship, lucky, sixth form certificate, UE, and school cert. And of course the entry into university was getting UE or was getting a seventh form certificate. And that was the way to get in there. There's a very narrow range of subjects also offered. Most students did, they wanted to do science, chemistry, physics, biology, maths. The students who we were mainly trying to aim at were in fact the students who did economics, accounting, history, geography, but got to 19, 20, 21 and said, oh, I want to do vet, I want to be a technologist, I want to do food tech. Food tech, I have to have chemistry. And it's like eating a wall. They haven't got a show if they try to jump straight into 101 or into the first year chemistry. So that's sort of the past. Now what about the present? At the moment we run an internal semester 1 course, and the numbers are sort of about the number who sit the exam at the end. I haven't bothered saying how many enrol because that's a different story, and we'll come to that in a minute. There's an extramural semester 1-2. Not very many people actually make it to the final exam. It's a huge drop-off rate. That's one of the issues with the course. Same in semester 2, and then we offer the extramural semester 3. Interesting one. This one here, 77 in 2007, and at the moment my roll is 130 for semester 3. Any suggestions? I'll take any suggestions as to why it's suddenly gone berserk. All our extramural enrolments have suddenly jumped. 10, 20, 50%. 100% in the case of some of our courses. I don't know. Economics? Maybe. Could be. Could be what's going on. There is only one contact course, and that's offered in this extramural summer semester. Mainly because we just can't cope with the numbers. We just can't manage right through the year to run the other contact courses. It's just too intensive. The course structure that we run, is broken into 10 modules. 7 core, 3 optional. So the students have a choice. They've got to do the 7 core, and you can look at that, and the person spoke earlier today about what do you put in the course. What bits are you going to put in, what are you going to miss out? And this is the course as it is at the moment. It covers most bases, but not everything. And it's under review in terms of where we're going, so I'll come back to that. There's the optionals. There's a thing about chemistry in the marketplace, which is really actually a supermarket visit. There's an organic one, proteins, that appeals to a number of students. And the plastics, green chemistry and proteins, or particularly the plastics and green chemistry, are essay style. And that does seem to be quite popular with a number of students. They're coming from a non-science background where they're used to writing essays and used to writing material rather than answering a set of straightforward questions. It's not very mathematical, although I would admit that the students seem to handle the chemical calculations better almost than some of the first year students, which is interesting. Maybe there are some answers when we look at where they come from. How do we decide to assess it? There's our assessment. Now there's some similarity, we hope. In the internal we can run labs, we've got mastery tests, that's the same. We've got a terms test we've put in there, and then we have these optional modules with a certain amount and a 50% exam. They must get a pass on the exam. If they don't pass the exam, it doesn't matter how well they do in the rest of it, sorry, you don't pass. You can think why. The student hands you in work, is it their work? How do you know? They do the mastery test online, it's done online on a computer, somewhere in the back of Masterton. I have no idea who's sitting at the computer desk. We have a faith in the student But at some point we have to be able to say, yes, this really is the student's work. Extramural, they have these core assessments, and we'll just make a point about those. Now the core assessments are quite interesting. They're a sort of home bake, you might say. I think of it that way because they do it in the kitchen, and it's all the sorts of things that you could do, like you might heat up some magnesium sulfate and work out the number of moles of water there are to every magnesium sulfate molecule. So they end up with some idea of a formula. They use moles and they use some calculation. It's reasonably simple, but it gives them a bit of a taste. So every assignment is actually a practical assignment rather than theory. It's actually a practical assignment they have to do. They do a titration. It's easy enough to do. You get a result. A teaspoon of baking soda is 4.6 grams. Work out the number of moles. Just keep adding 5 mils of vinegar until the indicator you put in there has changed colour. Or you can make it until the baking soda no longer bubbles, till the point where there are no more bubbles coming off the solution. Now that's a challenge for them, but it's surprising how accurately those students can get an answer. A number of them come up with actually quite a good value. Again, it gives them a taste for the idea that chemistry is out there. It's not actually something that happens just in the lab, in the test tube, and that's another thing that we are very conscious of. Right. Yes. Now the assignments are interesting. I've got here, just to mention about this cut and paste problem, that the web has given the opportunity to chop something out, put it into my assignment. Sometimes they acknowledge it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's appropriate. I even have had assignments that have had a beautiful piece of writing, and then it says photo 1, and there's a gap, because I forgot to cut that bit off. Or they've left the 2 asterisks which tell you that this is a piece that's been taken from somewhere else. It's there. Assignments. Now, these are a couple of examples of assignments. This was the question. That draws some structural isomers of the alcohol. That's fine. And this is one student's work. That's okay. That's fine. Put in some ethers, but at least they've got some of the concept. The thing I'm really pleased about is we do push skeletal quite heavily, partly because that's one of the ways I think our concepts need to move.